Hello. Another day, another parking lot. I just realized I have this annoying
You're talking very low.
glare. Sorry. I just realized there's this glare in my glasses. It always looks like I'm cross-eyed.
Blue light. You need blue light glasses.
I'm not cross-eyed.
You need blue light lentes.
Your concealer's not blended right there.
Well,
It's giving the lobster from.
what makes you think I wasn't going for that?
I'm just saying.
It's summer. It's hot. Anyways.
Today's episode.
Okay, also, let's not like this because it's like.
I'm not going like that.
I think it's saying it mentally for myself.
I'm not going.
Okay. Let's officially start this podcast. So I started last, so you start.
I started today?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Leslie Marie.
And I'm Natalia.
And this is the While You're Early, We Are Fashionably Late podcast, where we talk about
The clothing we wear and the untold, but very true stories of why we wear what we wear.
Yep. I think we're getting better at the intros.
Yeah.
We're tag teaming it. It's working. It's flowing nicely.
Yeah.
Also, I just realized Natalie told me that in the last episode,
Couple of
moved-
episodes.
I moved my mic a lot. I'm so sorry about that.
And she
I'm gonna
hits
try not to.
this when we had the one microphone in here. She would hit it a lot, and there's a lot of like banging noises.
I'm sorry.
Nothing is going on in the video that
Clearly not.
would make you think either we're getting abusive, violent, nothing.
Nothing.
It was just Leslie getting abusive
Ain't
with
no
the
fighting.
armrest
Yeah.
thingy. If you see the videos, you would be able to know. But if you don't,
You should watch them. Go
You
to
should.
YouTube because there's
You should.
extended content. It's basically just like a longer version of the podcast. So everything that didn't make it into the audio, it's in there.
and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit funnier.
There's a part of me from the mascots where you hear me choking if you listen to the audio. But if you see the video, you see
It's
me
hilarious.
like,
It's hilarious. Ew,
like-
don't do that.
I'll
Don't.
cut it out.
Don't, please.
Basically, you see me choking.
Yes. Well, besides Natalie choking, Natalie, what is today's episode on? It has to do with choking because you could choke on it.
There's a lot of videos, a lot of training you got to do to properly make
Food.
'Cause
You could choke
everything
on
that
it.
goes in the food process thingy jigger whatever. Basically, we're talking about
Long
chefs.
story short,
We're talking about chefs. Have you seen The Bear?
That is.
If
okay,
you have
hold
not,
on. Hold on. Can I preface this by
Yes.
saying my favorite movie of all time is Burnt with Bradley Cooper. Okay, and
she relates to the
firmly-
scene.
I relate to what scene? A
To
lot
the
of them.
scene when he's reading.
No, that's the
the
Silver
book.
Linings Playbook. That's a different movie.
Well, she loves Bradley Cooper,
love
and
Bradley
I feel like
Cooper.
I've seen
I relate to
every
him
Bradley Cooper movie
because of me.
under his name.
You're welcome. Okay, so that Burnt to me.
Mm-hmm.
That came out a while ago. Not a lot of people talked about it. Some people even disliked the film,
Ooh.
which I don't understand because it's my favorite film.
Ooh.
Like, I could watch it over and over and not get tired. Anyways, that to me
That was my water.
is the beginning of The Bear. It's literally the same, but different, if that makes sense. But obviously, it's a movie, not a series, so it doesn't go into depth, but it's literally the same thing. So if you're obsessed with The Bear, you're waiting for a season 3, like me, do yourself a favor, watch Burnt. You will like it too. Okay? I'm just saying.
There's a lot of.
Just saying.
You got to forgive the fish.
There's a scene where he literally has his chef's
And she's like
apologize to-
apologizing, and he's like, not to me.
because it
to
died
the
in
fish."
vain, Natalie. You don't get it as an
No.
artistic person.
I am
I'm
an
just kidding.
artistic person.
I know you are. Anyways, today I'm also channeling a little bit of Matilda Durf. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know. But also a little bit of chef. I don't have a chef's coat, but we got a button up.
I just got linen cover up.
Lily also has a button up, but
I got linen cover up.
cute.
Cover up. It's a sand
Ew.
color. Sorry, that was
Yes.
disgusting. I heard myself. Also, I'm wearing shorts.
So she ripped her pants.
Okay. Context. I was moving around basically re-merchandising the store I work at. And one of the medals I had on the ground, because I didn't need it, and I was replacing it with another one, And so like it's kind of hard. You have to go like in the little
They can't see
thingy.
you.
In the little no. Like I have to go in the thingy to kind of like make sure it's hooked and it doesn't fall when you add anything.
She basically got it hooked
I
into the
got it
back of
hooked
her
on my
pants.
pants and it ripped.
Poor-
Literally with an hour left of work, and I decided not to say anything because
So,
I was like, "What's
Sun's
gonna
out,
happen?"
buns out
Okay, no,
for Natalie.
because the shirt is long. At this point, I'm grateful that I got this shirt very
cannot
oversized.
Say you don't feel a breeze with that.
No, because I'm wearing underwear.
Okay, I'm just saying.
It's in the middle. It's not on the edge.
Pretty long cut.
Anyways,
Can we talk
my
about
favorite shorts.
how today we actually got...
a good parking spot.
It's empty, guys.
It's empty. There's
Literally
nothing.
empty.
Also, it's very fresh here, so I am not gonna be complaining about. Oh my god, it's so
and it's
hot.
Semi-empty.
Semi-empty in the sense
It's
there's
packed
cars.
in the mall right now.
Yes.
We are by the food area because it has to do with chefs.
Yeah,
And
and I was
over
hungry.
here, it's kind of empty.
It's
So.
empty. There's a nice breeze coming in, or in the shade. The internet's working. Riverside, the application we record both audio and video, is not failing us today.
Which is a
It's
good thing.
going smoothly. Also, because of the Barbie one, guys, I kid you not, I don't know what happened, but so basically we have two like videos because we usually like to do like talk about one topic, stop, and then talk about the other one. Basically, it's just so it doesn't get crazy when it comes for me editing wise. Tell me why both of the clips that I thought like stopped automatically after the thing wasn't working are 43 minutes. I believe 20 of those minutes is just me figuring out what the hell is going on. So there's a lot of me you see my face up close and personal in that video, and I will keep it in.
Sorry, I'm like disassociating
I saw that.
because I'm like so bored.
Why are you bored?
Because you literally, like, I already know this story.
You do. They don't.
I know that.
They don't know
but
what
for
happened.
me, I'm just like, okay, let's get to the point.
You brought it up. You know I'm
I
a
was,
good
like, literally, like-
conversation
I was literally
goer.
looking at
Blah, thingy.
Okay, I feel like we also, like, I promise you, theoretically, we have more structure in this episode. But
Yes.
Natalie has been jumping around the whole time, okay? It was story time in the beginning. Now, it's
You
time
have
to
a hair on you. I'm sorry. It just kind of bothers me
What
because
did
I
I
see
say?
it.
What did I say? How many times are you
ADHD,
going to
guys.
interrupt me?
ADHD. Anyways, chefs.
Yes, chefs.
From the icon himself, Ratatouille, Remy.
Oh my god.
He was a chef. He was a chef.
So hard to take this episode so seriously. I'm so excited about this episode, Ellie.
I'm excited. We're
Because
going to talk
I'm obsessed with
about
Bert
Remy and his
and with
legacy.
The bear. Oh my god. His
We
little
got-
leggings.
We have to be inclusive to all kinds. Animal, human beings. Okay, I hope it's not animal like in real life, just animal like animated.
Would you eat something a rat cooked for you in real life?
In real life, no. Animated? If I was an animated character,
You
go right ahead. I'm like
are
mesmerized.
a fake fan.
No. I've had too much food poisoning to know
Ew.
I don't want that.
Yeah, Ellie should not eat seafood.
But I love it.
Yeah. She
I
does not learn her
prefer it
lesson.
than chicken.
Okay.
It just keeps my tummy like fresh.
This is not about your tummy.
No. Like when I eat seafood, like we're by the beach. I'm sorry. Okay. Chefs. You know why Leslie's bored though? Because this is her favorite episode.
This is my
and I'm
favorite
carrying
episode,
it on.
and I really
carrying it
want
on.
you to take it seriously,
Okay.
Natalie. 100%.
Hello guys, I am Natalia and I'm coming to
No.
you live in the parking
This is what
lot
happens.
where we discuss about
I'm gonna preface this by saying it doesn't matter how old you get, your younger sibling will
want coffee.
always bug you.
Can we have an episode about like baristas?
Siblings?
As as a barista. And like kind of the clothing that you kind of like I'm sorry.
An apron.
Well, no, yeah, but like kind of the aesthetic people assume you have because of being a barista.
I can't with her.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get to chefs.
Guys, I was so excited about this episode.
she's like, read the notes, and I was like, it says different pastry chef, and this says why is it? She said why is it white? And she's like, why is what white? And I was like, I don't know. That's all you said.
Sorry, I didn't get to finish my notes.
Yeah, she's excited about this.
Clearly, if you can't tell with Natalie's energy, I haven't been able to do much because like she's all over the place. Okay,
just a second.
No. Okay.
Roll your eyes to the camera again so they could see. Undertaker.
Okay, you're so annoying today, Natalie.
I just want coffee. Like, I'm so tired.
Yes, Natalie has been on this no coffee kick, which I don't know why
coffee
you do this to coffee kick.
Oh, kick.
See? She's been on this no coffee kick for like the past 2 weeks, which I don't know why she does this to herself. She's just trying to prove a point to no one about nothing. About nothing.
I'm trying to prove to myself that I just don't
makes her unbearable.
To be like, I don't need to. What's the word?
This is a therapy session, Natalie. Drink coffee because you become a little bit too much.
What's the word? That I don't need to depend on coffee to wake me up.
You do need to depend on coffee. I am saying this publicly.
Also, I'm trying to get my teeth whitened. I'm trying to get my teeth whitened. You drink a lot of coffee, they get yellow. I'm trying to avoid that.
Teeth whitener.
Yeah, but that's like expensive. I'm pretty sure it's the same as teeth whitener and a latte, but it's okay.
Tell me
okay,
how
Google why it's white.
Google. You're so annoying.
I've been consuming too much water to balance.
Consuming?
Yeah.
She has never used that word in her life. We get on the podcast, you hand her a mic and she starts using big words. She doesn't even know what it means. What does consume mean, Natalie?
Consumer. Like you.
I'm saying consume the way you used it.
Consume? Like you kind of vacuum? Like, you know how the song from Arctic Monkeys, I want to be your vacuum cleaner.
I really
soaking it all the time.
Now you're going into an Arctic Monkey song?
I love Arctic Monkeys.
You miss, like if you ever saw them.
I'm gonna see them.
Okay.
Why is it white?
Okay, hold on. First,
like
let's talk about the history of chefs, their aprons, their gears. Do you know? Actually, here's a fun note.
I was a cook. Did you know that
actual chefs only really need, or even anyone in their kitchen, only really needs 3 knives? You have a paring knife. No, you have a paring knife, which is a little one for like details, usually fruit. You have a serrated knife, which is for bread. And then you just have the regular 8-inch knife.
You know so much.
I know so much because I feel like if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I would be a chef. I would either be a chef or a writer. I could still be a different
image of you that's coming up in my head right now. Or a
surgeon, surprisingly. I think it's just like I like little meticulous things, like, you know, like having everything organized and straightened and like I don't know. People are fighting outside. Whoa. Okay. So that's a fun fact. Also, obviously, we know that they use their button-up white, like coat. And pastry chefs use like similar things. A lot of them will have their names though written on. So
I think it's mostly like the head chefs, like the head ones, and then the sous chefs.
The sous chefs. That's after. Yeah. And then why is it white? Would you like to do the honors of that?
Of Googling it, why it's white.
Yeah, why it's white. But yes, that is the history of what we know on chefs so far.
I was a cook, guys.
No,
I worked at Raising Cane's.
Can you say that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't work there anymore. I used to work at Raising Cane's. I was a fry cook and cashier was my thingies.
She got a lot of burns.
I do. I still have them to this day, but it's okay.
I also had a small little cupcake business when I was like 15.
Yes.
Everyone loved my icing. I would have it like people would order it for their birthdays or for like little get-togethers or like weekend parties, whatever. And then everyone and their mother decided to also start baking cupcakes.
I remember that. I remember because I would help you carry them.
Yes. And so after that, I was like, this gig is getting a little bit saturated, so I'm gonna not do that anymore. But yeah.
I Google it.
Okay. Why is it white now?
Why is it white? white was chosen for chefs because it basically signifies like cleanness.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense when it comes to food. Like, you have to make sure everything is clean, sanitized. You follow procedures, timings, temperatures, everything. Because one little, like, especially when it comes to meat, anything, like, if you're under or over a certain percentage of, like, the Celsius of Fahrenheit and everything, you're basically, that food, you're not able to serve it. Because you would just get, you kind of cause viruses and stuff like that, like to basically be more easy to be attached to the meat. But yeah, so it's just kind of meant for cleanness, and it makes sense in general.
And I feel like being a chef is very meticulous, and so even though you're like, why wear white, like why have that be so hard on yourself, but I feel like they are that, like they especially if it's like for a Michelin restaurant, they like really strive for perfection in every corner, every inch of their work.
It also says that for chefs, like it's called the chef's jacket. It was very thought out. So the material is a heavy cotton material because it helps like kind of the chef in the kitchen, which makes sense during the heat. There's a lot of heat. There's a lot of cooking. There's a lot of people. A lot, like, it's just like you're sweating. That's crowded. Why most of them have kind of like the bandos like right here,
or the chef's hat.
So it's because of it's in the intense heat of the kitchen. It remains breathable and absorbs like spilled liquid. So anything that, so it doesn't like affect them in their skin. You know, I wish I had that when I got burnt with oil from chicken.
And that's why they also have long sleeves, right? Like, because a lot of people are like,
because it protects them from the cuts and burns.
And
this, the buttons, like, also like the buttons that they use are important because most buttons, if you get like cheapy ones, if I could say it that way, they kind of chip or they fall, especially if it's not sewn the right way. And for them, they have a specific one that they have to use so it doesn't break, it doesn't chip, because then it could fall into the food, and then that's a food hazard. Also, it doesn't like the threading that kind of gets loose. Like, it's all has to be designed perfectly, and it has to be reinforced perfectly because it matters when it comes to food.
Also, I think it's a very high intensity work area, and so you're on the go that you have no time to think about if a button falls. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll notice if it fell at the end of your shift, and then you're like, where did it go? So for them, I feel like it's very important to not have those distractions with the clothing that they're wearing, and to just make it more efficient, I think.
And efficient, as well as like if there's an emergency, like let's say like they spilled something on themselves that's like hot, and it does if it does like go through, like it's quicker for them to take it off for their own safety. So like that, I guess thinking of that, like it's kind of cool because it's like you think of safety for like the customers or the people that they're serving, but safety for them in the kitchen, depending on what could happen in what scenario. And the jackets are usually double breasted. So basically, if it gets stained, the cook can simply just reverse the flaps and you don't see any of the mess.
Wow,
and
I did not know that.
And it's kind of, it makes sense because it's like, what if like you have like somebody you invited or someone that the people invited, and you have to go present to them or introduce yourself to them or just talk to them? What if you have a stain? Like that's why they roll up their thing, because it's like, you don't see my mess, you just see me. Like, and as a proper chef.
I like that, how you said you don't see my mess, you just see what I created. There's a line, so going back to my favorite movie, Burnt, there's a line that he says that he got like a review for his restaurant, and it says it's like a great place to eat at, and the girl tells him like, oh, like, what do you think about it? And she's like, what is the part that you didn't like about this review? Which is, it's a great review, but he's like, it's like whatever. And then he's like, I don't want my restaurant to be a place where people, I want it to be a place where people stop eating. Which, if you think about it in that way, like, you're like, what does that mean? But it's like, the food is so amazing that they stop because they're like shocked by how good it is. They're
trying to take in like the flavors and everything.
Exactly. Versus it being like, you just like scarf it down. And then you're just like,
you go to a fast food place and you're just eating it because you're just like, oh, we know that the next time we go, it's going to taste the same. Where in like something where it's like that, where they take their time and like they consider it, it's like every detail counts for them. And like one little, like, let's say if they do like a little sauce, like a design, basically, if it is not done correctly, the same, they do it again. And like in the back,
There's
it's kind
no
of chaos.
excuse, yeah.
It's kind of chaos. But in the front, you don't hear any of that. But for them, it's kind of like.
And it's very much like quick timing.
Yes.
Where it's like you have 5 seconds to plate this dish. Like literally 5 seconds. And it has to be plated to perfection. If not, you're already behind on so many orders.
Yes.
And also, when you said fast food, there's another quote in the movie that always sticks out to me. I think just from a creative person's perspective, like not even like a cook, but I think from a creative person's perspective, he says that the problem or the difference between fast food restaurants and high-end restaurants is consistency. And she's like, well, you should strive to be consistent in like your craft, right? And like what you're making. And he's like, you should be consistent in your skill, but you shouldn't be consistent in what you're making. Like obviously you want to be innovative and you want to create new and you want to make new and kind of like keep going up. So I don't know, that movie to me, it doesn't even matter if you're not a chef, but like if you're a creative person, I feel like there's a lot of insight into that.
Especially because there's points in the movie, like me, like the many times I've seen it with you, I think like there's points in the movies where, like how she said, if you are just a creative person, because you see that in basically any type of career path or like anything that you choose, you get like for us, for artists, it's called an artist block. Yeah. But whatever career you're going through, you get kind of like a block, and you're like. You can't really like, you don't feel motivated, and you have to go find something to motivate you. And him, as someone that's like worked so hard to get a Michelin star, that he has to go back again to get that Michelin star, like he knows basically, okay, if last time I got a block during this time because of this dish, what can I do to avoid do it again? And he's not so hard on himself this second time because the last time was kind of like I need it.
I don't want to spoil that part of the movie because I know what you're talking about like the tries to get a Michelin star. And like, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but yes, I think that is a big thing. And I think also as a creative person, you witness like firsthand, like in that movie, like to yourself, how we're harder on ourselves than anyone else is. And we will push ourselves to the limit, and even then demand more of ourselves. And we get frustrated with the fact that like we're not, like we can't keep going. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because as a human, you have like a limit, you know? And you have to learn to kind of like grow and also be like the best version of yourself. But understand that there is a limit, and there is a break, and there is a time for everything. Anyways, that movie to me, 10 out of 10. It's perfect.
Now I
feel it in my soul. I am him. Like it's great.
I can only imagine, like, since we are in the topic of chefs and creating this chef's jacket, I could only imagine the amount of roadblocks the designers who made it went through, especially because they had to consider everything without knowledge of what goes on in the kitchen. So they had to like kind of talk to people, like realize things that they needed, things that they don't want, things that like felt. So it's like kind of like how many trials and errors did it take for them to like get the final design? Yes,
because I feel like it's a garment that has an actual purpose. I feel like every garment has a purpose, but this is very specific to the needs of chefs and to the needs of people in the kitchen, and to people who are it's so crazy how like a piece of clothing can be so overlooked, but yet it's the biggest factor, and it's the thing that they wear in and out, like day in, day out. And it's almost like a tool for them.
And it's how they present themselves.
Exactly.
Like if you were to see like this chef out in the street with just a white t-shirt, jeans, and tattoos, you'd just be like, it's a regular guy. But if you see him in a restaurant in that chef's jacket, you're just like, respect. Because it's like everything you went through, like culinary school, like training, interning, everything to get to the point that he's a head chef or he's a sous chef or he or she. Like, it's just like, you see them wear that jacket and you're like, I honor you, armor. Kind of like, you know?
It's like their armor, and you're just like, that is mad respect right there.
Yeah, my hands are getting tired holding this.
I know. I feel
like I keep like moving from one hand to the other because I'm like,
I hope you can't hear it because I'm like.
Also, because like I'm wearing rings, like my hands are red. Like I don't know, you can't see it, but my hands are red.
I can't see it. So this episode really came to life. Obviously, I like I said, love Burnt. But the bear. I've been really obsessed. Like, since the show came out, I knew that I was going to like it because of two things. One, the trailer reminded me of Burnt right away, and I was like, I'm going to watch the show. And then secondly, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you watch The Punisher, the recent one, the Netflix one, in season 1, the two main people that come out in it, which is the guy that plays the Punisher, and then the guy who, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen the Punisher, but it's the guy who's in hiding, who the Punisher, like, his character helps them too, and like their dynamic in that to me is so funny in season 1. And so when I found out that both of them were going to be in the bear, I was like really intrigued by it.
Especially the shift
of dynamic
from one episode to the other, like not one episode
show
to another.
Yeah. And so I was like really excited. Also, obviously, the main character is the guy who plays Lip on Shameless.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I was just like overall really, really excited about that. So that's like what piqued my interest. And then I'm not gonna lie, I feel like season 2 outdid season 1. I love season 1, but season 2
is fantastic.
Like, I'm sure by now you've either watched it or you've heard of it, but like Jamie Lynn Spears, or no, not Jamie Lynn Spears.
No.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis comes out in it. So many people, like John Mulaney comes out in it.
Sarah Paulson.
Yep, Sarah Paulson, and then Will Poulter.
Yes.
Oh,
my glasses. I'm so sorry. That man glowed up. I'm so sorry.
He did
I'm so sorry.
Do you remember him from Narnia?
Oh my god, yeah, he was terrifying. Like, he looked like the guy from Toy Story, the little kid from the first movie.
The mean one.
Yeah, they all made memes of him.
Yeah,
but then when he saw me, I was like,
he glowed up.
This man.
But yeah, so like honestly, and aside from all the famous people that came out in it, I think it's just the way that they were all put in, you know, without overshadowing like the cast, like the main cast. Also, my favorite episode is episode 7, where what's his face? Oh, I love the show so much, and I'm blanking on their names right now.
Also, can we talk about how? Okay, so before the bear came out, we were obsessed with Bon Appetit, and we watched all like the videos. Hold on, no, but not like just like Bon Appetit during COVID.
Yeah, I feel like
and there is this like segment that it was Maddie and who was else?
Oh yeah, he comes out in the show too.
Yes, but it was basically It's Alive, and they do
Maddie,
like Maddie and oh my god,
Brad
yes, and so they basically like they would travel to places to like if they did like catfishing, they went to go catfish and learn how to do that and then cook the fish.
That's the only episode that Maddie comes out in It's Alive with him catfishing. That episode to me,
it's so hilarious.
It's literally like 2 hours long. It's so funny to me.
It's hilarious. I could watch it again. Hilarious. I will crack up. It's so funny. It's just this thing the dynamic is there. And I think that it's so funny because then is it Maddie?
Yeah,
Maddie comes out in The Chef. He's a producer
in the bear.
And when they interviewed him and basically they were telling him if he wanted to be a chef, and he was like, no, like I don't want to be a chef in this. Like I want to be a part of it. He's a plumber in this.
He's a plumber.
I love it.
So
I love
cute.
it though. And then not without spoiling anything, but in the last episode when he's helping them for the restaurant,
he's helping Richie out.
Yeah, but he's just like so like I'm so into this.
He has little tucks.
Yes.
I think my favorite episode. So in season 2, obviously we have the Christmas episode, which that to me it's jaw dropping and it's crazy because yes, there is cooking involved, but it's like more than that. You really get to know why the characters are the way that they are. And the dynamic. But episode, I think it's 7 with Richie, which is his episode. That to me warms my heart. Not only because he sings Taylor Swift in the car, but literally like I teared up watching his arc because he goes from a character who thinks he knows everything, he's comfortable where he's at, like especially in season 1, to the growth and realizing the importance of what they do and that it's beyond just like a job, you know? And then in the last episode, which again I don't want to spoil it for you, but he kind of takes charge and he like goes for it, and in that moment like you applaud him so much because without him,
he takes his position.
Yes, without him they wouldn't have
as him knowing like his worth. Basically everything he's evolved to up to that point of that episode when they need him,
Yes.
he doesn't like back away.
He's
Like he
there.
steps up for it. And I
Yeah.
think that, like he said, we applaud him for that. Like his
Yeah.
character, and also the writers who wrote
The
it.
writers
Writers, honestly, this
deserve
season,
the
I
world.
love it.
Writers
I'm
deserve
grateful.
the world.
Like your minds, like
Yes.
you literally hit every single spot
that
that
show would not have been what it is
without the writers. Yes.
So obviously, and the actors and the producers and everyone, but like honestly, the writing for that show, it's so different, and yet it's like a breath of fresh air, because it's like
Yes.
it's every character gets the spotlight, but then it doesn't overshadow anything. And like
You don't get overwhelmed by the amount of
No.
characters that we get to see them.
Yes.
Like,
and you're invested in
yes.
each character.
Mhm.
I think if there's a character you're not invested in, it's for a purpose. But I don't know, like I just love it.
Each
Also,
one, yeah.
Sid and Carmi, they
Yes.
have my heart. They have my heart.
Yes.
They have my heart. But yes.
But Carmi himself.
But Carmi himself. Carmi, I feel like also those episodes where he has panic attacks, coming from someone who has panic attacks, that is such a real representation of it.
Mhm.
And it's like, again, it goes back to being really hard on yourself in your creative field.
Give it a sec. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah,
You
sorry.
can hear the metro, and I don't know if the mic's gonna pick it up or not. So I just
yeah, me
don't
too.
want you to keep talking, and then it does pick it up.
It does pick it up.
Then there's police sirens. Winkle, 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 winkle. We're gonna take a quick pause so all these noises go away. We'll be back to you. As someone who has panic attacks,
As someone who has panic attacks, as
You-
someone who is really
you
hard on
related.
themselves,
you related.
I really relate to that character. And obviously
what
I didn't
other
grow.
things
I
did
didn't
you
grow.
love?
I mean, I feel like this is a therapy session.
What other things did you love about this character? Other than that part.
I feel like also, I don't know about you, but
Mm-hmm.
without getting too personal, season 1 came at a perfect timing in my life where I was going through something similar, where I had
Mm-hmm.
lost my father. And so
We had lost our father.
we have lost our father. And so, obviously, in season 1, he loses his brother. And so, it's like him kind of picking up the pieces of, like, what's left. And so, that, to me, I think I related to that on a very
'Cause-
deep level.
Yeah, deep
Yeah.
level. And because, like, I think there's, I don't know, for me specifically, there's points in my life where I would be like, am I supposed to go through that? And then you watch a show and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, even if I don't think it, like, the show's basically confirming it to me.
Yeah.
And, like,
It's like a parallel line of what we
right?
were living.
It was just done so beautifully.
Yes.
So props to you, writers.
And even season 2, I
Season
think
2.
it's about creating something new. And I think
Your
we're at
legacy.
that point in our life where we're creating our legacy now, where we're kind of
Podcast.
moving forward. Yeah. Like, that's why this came to be
Yeah.
also. So, I don't know. It's like a very, like, I really relate to shows like that.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I think for me, it's rare that I'll have a favorite or that I'll
Mhm.
like something.
Yeah.
But when I do, I won't shut up about it.
And when she does, it shows up
It's
on
for a
all over
reason.
your TikTok feed. And when it does, she sends you all of these at 12 a.m. in the night. And when it does, is that person loves this man. Let's just say Leslie loves a man who can cook.
I love a man who can cook. I love a man.
Get her out of the kitchen. And I mean this not
Also,
because
Men in white with tattoos.
okay, but and I don't mean like men get out the kitchen like basically she loves a man who cook, but I only mean this because Leslie, she has some dishes she can cook, but there's others.
I can cook. Have I burnt toast? Yes. Have
Tortillas?
I burnt ramen?
Yes.
Literally the one you put in the microwave?
with just water.
Yes, and
She
I
burnt
literally
it.
almost burnt the house on fire.
There was static coming out of
But
that
I'm
microwave.
a great pastry chef. I feel like that's something I can do.
But
so-
food wise,
Food-wise, yeah, I have like pastas. I feel like I'm good at
but
pastas.
you just go to Trader Joe's and you get the pasta, and then you just put olive
Okay,
oil and spinach.
But isn't it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
I surprised myself.
Thanksgiving, I cook a
I
pretty
surprised
good
myself with
meal.
Thanksgiving when I
Yeah.
cooked that chicken
Yeah.
and those vegetables,
Yeah, we made the
and
macaroni. We made
stuffing,
stuffing.
everything.
Yeah, I feel like the past 2-3
Mhm.
Thanksgivings, you and me have really took care of the kitchen. And
I
we've
think
done a great job.
I got inspired by my favorite show. My favorite cooking
Oh
show.
my gosh, I know
Nailed
what
it.
is. Nailed it.
I think.
The
I
way
think.
Natalie laughs at every single episode. Like,
Okay,
I'm talking
Okay, my thing is I laugh because
she
I'm like,
yells.
how could you get it wrong, right? This has to go back to that to episode 2 of mascots, where we talk about how, like, if you're presented this image of what you're supposed to do, how do you screw up? So for me, for Nelly, I laugh because I'm like, it's
also,
there. They give you
the direction.
They get everything. There's no way you can
judge. I'm not gonna judge because I feel like maybe under pressure it's a little different.
Okay, I know under pressure I freak out, right? I try my best to strive for it, but I freak out. Yeah. I think I laugh. I don't know if I would ever love to be on the show.
I feel
maybe for comedic reasons, yes.
I mean, nail it if you're listening to this and you need
someone
to be,
I'm not gonna
volunteer her. It's from
I'm not gonna boost my own ego and say I'm a perfect pastry and I could like.
I feel like you would do like you.
I'd be close.
You'd be close. You'd be closer than most.
I'd be close.
I feel.
I'd get that.
Yeah.
What is it? That gold chef hat, baker's hat.
Yeah, and then the money, the little thing.
Make it rain, make it rain.
Also, another show that is near and dear to my heart. Very much like a fall time show that I just like. I could sit and watch the full season of, and I don't care what you say because Nelly says I'm an old grandma because of this. But the Great British Bake Off, it's so good.
It is good though.
It's so
good. It is good.
I love it.
There's times
day in day out.
When I would be at home and I'm like, I'm missing Leslie, and I would put an episode, and I was like, I understand, and I'd cry. I'm just kidding. Now.
No, I remember even Dad would like make fun of me for it, right? And
but then he loved it.
And then he sat down one day, and he's like, what is this? You know, like he sat down. Tell me by like the end of the season, he was like rooting for people. He was like out here like they better like everything. It was so funny. But yes.
Also,
Great British Bake Off, we love.
That's an experience we have with our father, but with our mother was a Food Network queen. She loved that. She said, "Giada, I'm coming for you."
Rachel Ray.
We
everything. Get home from school. That's what we'd be playing.
Also, she would get a lot of cooking ideas from them, and she'd be like, "Oh, I could make that." Also, she didn't have to be like, "Oh, what was the ingredients?" Like, no, she was able to remember.
This woman does not follow a recipe. She just goes by what she sees, and it is amazing. She made lasagna. She's made enchilada. Like, she's made a whole bunch of food.
Yeah, and it's funny because
I don't know how she does it.
When we were living by ourselves, we were not with our mother. I would call her, and because like there was days where we were craving like certain foods like enchiladas. For me, I love enchiladas. I love caldo de pollo. Yeah. And so I would call her up because I was the one that would mostly cook. And then I'd be like, Mom, what do I need? Yeah. And then she'd give me the ingredients. I'd go buy it, right? I call her as I'm making the dish.
Literally FaceTime
and then I FaceTime her, right? And then I go, okay, how much of this do I need? You know what this woman says? And I'm saying it in Spanish. She said, tanteale. That basically means just eyeball it. And I'm like, and so I'm like, okay. Eyeball. And then, like, there was this one time my dad was with us, and I had made enchiladas, and, like, my mom's mole enchiladas,
so good.
Delicious. They hold a special place in my heart. I made them. Yeah. Tell me why. My dad is a picky person. If he could have done something else in his life, he could have been like a chef, like a guest, the tasters. Yeah. This man could taste everything under the sun you put in there and everything that you needed, right? Yeah. Tell me why when I made the enchiladas, I was like ready for him to say something wrong. And he goes, "No notes. Can you serve me another plate? This is good." And I was like, that's it.
You know what? He did that to me too. There's a Bon Appetit recipe. And
that one's good. I miss that.
Yeah, it's a chickpea pasta like recipe, like soup recipe. It is the easiest thing to make. And honestly, I made that. He loved it so much. It was a bit spicy, and he didn't complain about it.
I love how this man was born in Mexico. He claimed he was
Italian.
Citizenship to United States. But he was like, I'm Italian. He was like, the plane, when I was about to get born, landed in Mexico. I was meant to be Italian. Yet when Leslie would make pasta, he'd be like, this again? I'm like...
But that was the only pasta that he did not complain about. Mm-hmm. And he liked, because he thought it was more of a soup than a pasta.
Yes, definitely.
Anyways, those are my fortes in what I can cook. Pasta and cupcakes. Also, what is it that you like? I make the little empanadas.
Okay, I
apple pie
don't like apple pies.
Yeah, she doesn't.
I only like Leslie's versions of apple pies. I can't tell you what part of an apple pie I don't like because I love pie. Yeah. But I specifically just don't like apple pies.
I think what you don't like is when it has the skin on it and then when the apple is mushy. So what I do is I cut it extra, extra small, like really, really fine. And then I take off the skin. So then that way when you cook it, it's like almost like a jam versus it being like a hard like apple,
But
like a squishy.
All I know is that every Thanksgiving I ask when she's like,
Yeah.
what do you want me to do? And I'm like,
With
make your
sprinkled
apple
with
pie.
cinnamon.
And then we get vanilla,
Ice
dairy-free ice cream from Trader Joe's on top, and that's just delicious.
Delicious.
That's just
Also, you don't have to commit to a full slice of pie. It's like
Right.
3-4 empanadas, and they're little.
They're
tiny,
cute.
so
They're adorable.
yeah, maybe we should start a cooking thingy on TikTok or YouTube or something, just
Right?
to like show you guys
Some of our favorite.
cooking with the Queenies.
Cooking with the fashionably late queens. Another reason why we're always late, but we're looking good.
And we're eating good.
We're eating good. We're eating. There's a point in my life I was vegan. This has nothing to
You
do with
were keto for 2 hours.
because I couldn't eat oranges.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that is for me? I love fruit. Anyways,
Also, can we talk about how literally we will sit down to watch a movie as a family? Everyone has junk food because that's what you eat, right? So I'm talking candy, I'm talking
Well
popcorn,
attacked.
chips, I'm talking all of that.
I'm getting attacked right now, guys.
Natalie literally sits down after everyone sat down with their cookies, whatever, ice cream. She sits down and she has the audacity to take out a bowl of fruit. Literally the most healthiest thing
Okay.
you could eat, and she's just there eating it in the corner, judging
Okay,
us.
but
I feel judged when you do that.
when we would watch movies where we used to live was like over 100 degrees.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
They would eat chips. They would eat popcorn. I wanted something fresh in my tummy, so
They would eat fruit.
I would eat fruit. My
Frozen
favorite
grapes.
is frozen grapes.
So good.
I tasted
Frozen
the other day.
watermelon?
Yes, I tasted the other day frozen grapes, but they were covered with like I think a chamoy and tajin.
Oh, that is really
My
good.
mouth is watering already, guys.
Don't say that. Or
It's
with
just
mango,
so good.
tajin, 10 out of 10 on
Chamoy,
fruit.
limoncito.
Don't, because I'm really
I'm
hungry
really
now.
wanting out. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get to the last part of our podcast today.
Yes, how we see it in fashion, in Runway specifically. So, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, but the first thing that comes to mind, and not just because of their grocery runway that they did, I think it was in fall, winter 2014. Chanel. I don't know why, but Chanel just reminds me. I think it's the buttons on the little jackets that they have
Reminds
that
you.
just remind me of like chefs, even though it's like obviously a different material, but they're giving chef vibes.
I think it all has to depend of how like we have an
The
image
structure.
of what a chef's jacket, apron, everything has to look.
Yeah.
So anything that remotely close to looking that way,
Yeah.
we're just like we think of chefs.
Yeah.
We think of that.
And then also they did that runway where it was in a grocery store, which that was
That's cool.
iconic. That's
Yeah.
iconic.
It's on YouTube, huh?
It's
the
on
video.
YouTube. Yeah. We could probably link it.
Yeah.
But yeah, iconic. And then I have a list here of a couple of also items. So Dolce & Gabbana in 2018, spring and summer, they had some pieces of theirs, like it was skirts and I believe it was a dress, and it featured food. So some of it
Like food
featured
drawn.
actual food and then canned food too.
Like drawn on it or like
yeah, so
oh.
like that was the pattern that was stamped.
That's beautiful.
throughout.
I think of like the Trader Joe's grocery bag, the one that has
Honestly,
all the
yeah.
vegetables. That one's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I think when you told me that, I that's what image. That's
yeah,
what
and
I
I
mine
think it
thought.
was like red and green. I think it's like tomato sauce and like different
cute.
sauces. It's really cute. It's really cute. And then another one. So Vaquera, I hope I'm saying that right. In fall 2017, Vaquera is made up of 4 designers. We have Patrick DiCaprio, David Moses, Bryn Taubinisi, I don't want to say it wrong, I'm so sorry, and Claire Sully. So they designed their collection based off of the American dream and
Okay.
American workers, right?
Love
and
that.
so the blue collar and like a whole bunch of like people working in the service industry, one of them being a chef. And so there's this dress, I think it was their final piece too. It's this dress it's literally like a chef's apron on top, but the rest is like a flowy dress.
That's cute.
And then they also have the chef's hat, and that is to mimic a bride. So that is
That's
their
cool.
bridal piece. It's actually really
It makes
intense.
sense though because if you think back to like women's rights and stuff,
Yep.
women were meant to be at home
Cooks.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were made that dress,
Yeah.
it just kind of like does a thing where it's like how our
A
basically
second
how our world's changed to where it's like now women out here are like the ones sometimes that are the home
breadwinners.
The breadwinners.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are supporting, like, not putting to shame, like, stay-at-home dads, because we love you for being, I'll stay at home, and as well, like, basically supporting your wife.
Yeah.
We're also not putting to shame the
Stay-at-home
dads
moms.
that are, the breadwinners, and the moms that stay home, because you do a lot of the work. Our mom was a stay-at-home mom, so we love that.
I think it's just very much of, like, the narrative, right? It's getting rewritten where women can be respected in the kitchen, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's just because
That's
they're
where they
a housewife.
belong.
Yeah. Also, I feel like that's also very common when it comes to fashion designers, because fashion designers, like, top of the top, usually in the beginning were men. And so now, obviously now we have so many women designers.
Yes.
But it's very much a thing of, like, it's not like sit home and sew, because I've felt belittled as a fashion designer because I'm a woman. So it's like very much where guys will be like, oh, that's cute, or like, oh yeah, well, women are supposed to sew, and you're just like, no, we're not. But
it's not all women know how to
sew,
sew, and not all women have that talent. I
and
think sewing is like a talent.
It's a talent, and it's not. I mean, it's like an actually intense business. It's not just like I'm here hand sewing all day. Like, it's intense.
And I think being able to, especially with this piece and with all the other pieces that include anything that has to relate to fashion, it's funny how these clothing, they're made specifically for women. Yes. There's some that are made for, but they're made specifically for women because they're putting women in their, like, position, in their right of, like, thank you for everything you did. Yeah. And, like, also, here is an opening where it's like, you can be a chef, you can be a designer, you can be, like, basically giving women their spot in any field in career. I know that there's some that's still a little bit hard, but it's like they're basically kind of opening that first door for all that,
I think I get what you're saying.
Like, not restricting them to where it's like it's only the man's world.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's a woman's world.
Yeah.
Women's and man.
Yeah.
Because it's like we
equal,
both,
baby, equality.
So I love how for this, like, they did that. They did that.
And then it's funny because someone, so it's like a very much like a punk thing, like theme to it too. And I think the question that they had, like, backstage was like about the American dream, and then one of the questions was like, why does everyone want to be a chef? Which I think we'll leave it at that, because it's very much like, I feel like even with the bear coming out, like, everyone wants to be a chef now, or is inspired by chefs. Yeah. Especially on TikTok, I feel like there's a lot of up and coming chefs.
And pastry chefs that put their, like, vlogs. I love those.
Yeah, I love watching those. Yeah. Or even, like, vlogs on YouTube of, like, cafe vlogs.
I love those.
I love watching those.
Those are great. Yeah. We had so much to talk about. I'm pretty sure we would have more to talk about, but Leslie's laptop is slowly dying on us. So to be able to make sure we get everything, we will end this episode here. We might do a part 2 when season 3 comes out and talk more about it and more knowledge that we have. But until then, this is us closing off our podcast.
Yeah, with chefs.
We're chefs.
Go cook something,
even
if it's ramen.
Yeah.
And go watch The Bear.
Season 2?
Yeah.
1? Any other recommendations of chef culinary world movies? Leave them. We would love them. I know Leslie would.
I will literally watch them.
Anything that is Bradley Cooper related.
Also, anything that is Bradley Cooper. I mean, I've probably already watched all of it, but
maybe
I will still rewatch it.
Yeah. But anything. Anyways, that is it for today. Yes. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Bye. We love you, Queenies. See you till next week.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.